everyone, it's Laura from Laura's Handcrafted Treats and Treasures. Welcome to or back to my channel. Alright, in the last video where I used Recipe Keepers digitals from Create with Scrimping Mommy, at the beginning of the video I showed you that I had started this because I want to make another recipe keeper. I'll post that video in the description box as well. So in that video I had said, you know, if I would have had the forethought, I would have made this to match this, so this could be the front of my recipe keeper, and one for the back, because I think there were two of these. I'm not sure. Anyway, so I thought, well, I'm going to recreate this because I wanted to bring you all along anyway. So I thought, you know what, it's a good opportunity to make this the size that I really want it. So what I did was well, first of all, let's talk about the material. So these are just, I don't know, some legal envelope. I'm sure you can buy them at your office supply store. I just got them from my aunt. She had a bunch of them, and I'm like, oh, I can use those. So you can use a file folder too, although I don't think it is sturdy enough. It wasn't sturdy enough for me. I knew that this would get more sturdy as I added things to it, but I wanted a little bit of a thickness. So you could even use poster board, I thought would be a good idea too, or something a little thicker. Anyhow, this is what I'm gonna use. So I also went and searched through my stash of wallpaper, and I found this. You're not going to see a whole lot of this except for maybe on the inside in this part, but I found a new piece for that. And you don't have to use wallpaper. You can use regular paper, although you know, you would have to seam that together, and you could seam that down here at the bottom. So you can just use regular copy paper. Also, you can go to Dollar Tree. Hang on a second. I don't know what they have in the UK, but at our Dollar Tree for $1.25, you can get these wallpaper. And this is actually sticky, so you wouldn't even have to go through the work of gluing, you know, this down or paper down. But they have several different kinds. I use these for a lot of different things, so that's a different video, but I just wanted to show you that you could do that. And I think there's a wood one. That's a newer one from them. So pretty. Yeah, so this one. So you could use any of that too. So there's a thought. Okay, so that is the material that I'm going to be using. So what I decided, and I've drawn my lines, and here's where I want the top to come. Well, this might change because I drew that. I'm like, well, wait a minute. I have not put my little gusset in here yet. So what I decided, at least I wanted this to be 6.5, and then my height is going to be, I believe it was 6.5 as well. Where's my? But that may change because, like I said, I've got to put the gusset in first. 6. But the reason I thought I wanted the top to be a little taller is this is where I'm going to be using my cinch. This is where I'm going to be putting my holes. You can use just a regular hole punch and use some rings. That would be fine too. But then I thought once I got this all decorated, then I might want to put some little things at the top of the page, you know, like Recipe Keeper and stuff like that. So I wanted that to be a little bit taller. So, you know, if you're going to redo it, you might as well just redo it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to slice this off. I'm not going to slice this yet until I do my folding. Now, you could use an X-Acto knife. I have this nice guillotine here. I love this thing. It took me a while to decide to buy it. Like I said, I don't buy things unless I know it's going to be something I use all the time, and I do use this a lot for all of my thicker paper, so it kind of saves on my blades for my Cricut trimmer. All right, so another thing I did was I went ahead and scored. You can do it with a ruler and take your little tool, Dollar Tree, and you can do your scoring this way, or you can get your scoreboard out. And you can't see the score lines, but this is scored at 1 1/4. Then from there, because these were 2 different sizes, I'm gonna go back on this side, and I'm gonna go back on this side where that score line is. And I'm just gonna take my bone folder, get that down there real nice. Then once that scoring is done, or that little fold is done, that just happened to be for me because this came this way. So understand, if you're using something that doesn't already have a fold, you're going to have to do this first, then do your fold it and do your measuring. Okay, so then this is going to come up like this. Now I want to make sure, I'm going to turn this back over, and I want to make sure that I'm doing 6 inches from this point, not when it was folded out flat. So I'm going to come back in here, and it looks to be about, I'm just going to go by this line right here. You can draw your line in, but you know, it's there and ready for me. So I'm just going to go by that one. I imagine one of those green file folders would help as well, because it's already got the fold started and it might be a little bit of a thicker paper. Okay, so now I have the start, okay? Once I did that, let me get this out of the way. I came back in with my wallpaper, and then I laid this out. Now I'm gonna want this to be on the outside because I want that smooth, seamless look on the outside. So this is my outside. So I had to lay this out this way, and basically did what we all normally do. And I just sort of traced around here just so I knew I kind of want to cut beyond these points for this particular. So I don't want to cut on that line. I'm going to cut beyond that line. So you can go ahead, just to remind myself that yes, I want to cut beyond that line. I don't want to cut on the line. I'll just draw myself another little one. I don't know, it's about 1/2 inch. Okay. So I'm going to do that off camera, but while we're here, you can see that I ended up with this. Okay, I can't flatten this all the way back out because I've now put my centerpiece, and I don't want to flatten it all back out because I want it to start forming that shape that I want it to have. So I took a piece that was, let's see, this was 1.5 inches, that was 1 inch, or 1 1/4 inches, so that was 2.5 inches. And then I think I added, what, another inch. Doesn't have to be perfect to each side. So 2, 3, 4.5. This was a 4.5 inch piece. Now I'm not going to go through how to turn your edges in. That's pretty self-explanatory. Although when you get to here, maybe when I start to do the other one, I'll come in and show how we're going to fold everything in. Once I did that, I went ahead and I took 2 more of the pieces of cardstock type paper that I have. I cut them out, and then I covered them as well so that I can now lay this in here, which I'm going to finish this one because I could use this for something else. So I'm going to get those glued in. I thought about inking them, but I was like, nah, it's on the inside. You're not going to see it anyway. And then I would have to ink everything. I don't know. I still might, because I do like to ink. But I might ink it all up just to make it look cohesive, because I am going to use this for something different now that I'm doing the other one. But anyway, I did these panels. I just measured those out. and measured this out, and I didn't want it to come down into here. I don't want it to hinder this here closing, so I just need it to cover up that space. And I'm going to put it quite high up because when I use my cinch, I want it to be up there. Now I can't put this whole thing through like this, so when I get to that part, I might come back and show you how I'm going to do that. So for now, I'm going to get the other one covered, and then I'll be back. Okay, I have my paper cut down to where I need it, and I thought I would come on and show you how I glue. I've also cut out what is going to be the flap that's going to come over the front when it's not being used, and then when it's used, it'll go to the back. We'll get into that. I did show the inspiration piece in the other video. But I did cut 2 of these. I'm going to glue both of these together because I want this to be just a little bit more sturdy. So I did that. This is going to get covered too, but it's probably not going to get covered with this because I only have 1 sheet of this. And but that's not a big deal. I can cover it with something else, and I can actually cover it with the gingham piece that Amanda provided in the kit. Would be super cute alongside of this. I do have a little bit left over, but that has to go for the inside, this piece and these pieces. So all right, so I'm going to turn this back over, and I just thought I would come on and show you this just in case it's a step that somebody needs. If not, you know, you can go ahead and, you know, just file through that. So, all right. So I'm gonna come to about right here, and I want to make sure this is here. So what I did, now remember, you want your piece as if it was going to be up like this. So I'm going to come and do just this bottom first, but I still want my guides in place because it's going to help me know where to lay that. I'm using Art Glitter Glue. You can use probably Fabri-Tac. I would just use something a little more. I know Art Glitter Glue holds like crazy, so that's what I've decided to use. And I'm putting quite a bit on there, and especially towards like the edges. Not that it matters because everything's going to get folded. I mean, it matters or I wouldn't be doing it. All right. So I'm going to come up here. I want to make sure I've got that end, and then I'm going to go ahead and really press that down. Oh, I need to come this way just a little bit before it sticks. Doesn't, I mean, I think I have enough on either end. Come on. Don't stick yet. Don't stick yet. It sticks fast. Oh, I might have to redo it because I've messed it up. Maybe not. All right. Let's try this again. Okay. No, I think I can still get it to stick. My goal is just to stick this piece down. And then what I want to do is I want to fold that center piece back. I want to start getting that little fold in there while the glue is not really, I mean, this particular glue is probably just already down, but just before it gets too set in its ways. And then I'm going to bring this back, and then I'm going to go ahead and start gluing this side. So I'll probably speed through this. Okay, now while that glue is still workable, I'm gonna start bending this way. I want to start working those folds in there, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing to the other side. Okay, again, I'm laying that down there. And I'm gonna bend this end. Bend the end. Start getting those creases in there. All right, so then I'm gonna take the whole thing and start working it. So now I'm forming my stand. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is these are gonna have to be cut in order to fold them up, and this middle one as well. I don't like to cut a whole lot off because I want to make sure I'm covering these corners. So what I did was I just took this and went straight up that middle. And I didn't get it perfect, but I tried. It'll all work out in the end. And then I turned it over just to get in there good. And I sort of butted my scissors right up to that cardboard in there and then just cut straight down. If I have to go in and miter a little bit on the edges, I can. It's not a big deal. The reason you want to do that is to get rid of some of the bulk that you have in there. Yeah, like that one might have to be. So see this one here, it's gonna come over. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just a little teeny weeny little miter off of that. And I'm gonna do the same thing on that side. And I'll probably do the same thing here, but now this is gonna lay in that center a lot nicer. And I'm gonna get most of that edge. So it would be the same thing I did with this one. And then I did go ahead and ink that up. Now on the corners, I have this tool that by the suggestion of Amanda, I'm loving. But this is where you would just slice off this end. I'll do one and then I'll just move on. And then you're able to start doing your fold, and then you would tuck this little end in when you get to that part. So anyway, I'm gonna get that finished up. I'm gonna get my front cover covered and I'll be back. Okay, moving forward. I have my little panels done. I'm gonna be placing them in here so that my panels will be finished, and then this will stand up. I did go ahead and ink up everything. I'm going to re-ink that really well because that's going to be to the top. Not that you're really going to see it, but you know, just for good measure. Okay, so I'm going to get that done. And then I went ahead and I glued two of the same type of material together to make my front. And I trimmed it just a little bit because in the gluing process I had a little bit hanging over, not a lot, but also I trimmed the bottom. You want this to come straight to the top when I get ready to cinch it, but I didn't want this, and I see it's a little bit crooked, so I might have to go in there and trim it. You don't want this to come straight to the bottom because you want that to be free to flip. So I'm probably gonna trim that a little bit and straighten that up a little bit. And then I went ahead and I put top because I wanted to make sure I knew where my top was. And I thought, okay, this is gonna be, you know, where it flips. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this on here. And I think I'm gonna do that on this side too. But then I'm gonna come in with this one and I'm gonna trim this down because it wasn't quite where I wanted it. I wanna center it. So I'm gonna trim this down. I may even have to cut that off. But then I'm gonna put this right here because then that way when you flip it up, you have your, in fact, I'll probably put it this way. So when this is flipped to the back side, you could turn it around and see your measurements. And then maybe on this inside panel, I'll put that other one that had the beef. But on the front side, when this is down this way, I thought, okay, I'm going to put this as a background. But then I think I went a whole different route than using this. Of course, I could put this in there too. We'll see. But my mind started going and I thought, oh, maybe I'll fussy cut all of this out and then I'll put that there. But yeah, anyway, that's where I'm headed right now. I just wanted to come back on, show you where I'm going with this, and then I'll come back when I have that completed. Okay, so I have everything done. I have my cover for this one, front and back. I have put my layers in. I think what I'm going to do also is I think I'm going to Mod Podge all of this, because if it is sitting in a kitchen, you just don't want this paper to accumulate, you know, just splatters and stuff. I did cut out the kitchen part. I ended up having a little bit of a bubble here because I used part of that folder that had already had its score in it. So note to self, don't do that, but this will cover it. And so this will actually go on backwards so that when this flips over, then you can turn it around and your measurements will be on the back side. So as I'm doing this, I have thoughts of like, oh, I'm going to do it this way, I'm going to do it that way, but they're evolving and they're changing. So before I did that, I got my cinch machine out, and I know not everybody has a cinch. I started out with Zutters years ago, and they don't make that anymore. But like I said, you could measure your places and then put rings. You know, you can get smaller rings where you can bind it that way. But I want to use my cinch machine. So if you do have a cinch, you can still get, oddly enough, you can get the Zutters universal binding. Now, normally for my little golden books, I use the biggest one. 4.5 would actually be better, but I do have some smaller ones, but I'm not going to use the rings until I get all of the papers in. But since I'm working on this one at the same time, my first one, I decided I would mess this one up first before my other one. So this is my test subject. So what I'm going to do is, and I don't know if you can see if that bar is going to be in the way, but if you look down in the machine, if you have one and you've never used it, you know, get brave, get it out. But if you look right here, it's got a center point, okay? Now, normally when you find your center point, you're able to move this guide exactly, you know, where you want to catch that. But mine isn't going to go far enough. So I've drawn a line, and I want to draw the line far enough so I can see it once I put it in here. I can still see it over here. So I don't want to push down on that, but you'll see. So I'm lining it up with the center. Another thing I want to keep in mind is, how many holes do I want in here? So I'm looking at 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I think I'll do the 10. I think it'll just give it more stability. And since I have enough on either side, I think that's going to be fine. So we're going to try it. Like I said, if I mess it up. Now, if you don't want to ruin your project, you know, I never learn. I live and learn. I never learn. I should get a test piece of paper, do that first, line it up. But, you know, I'm just going to go for it. Now, I'm going to go ahead and pull out these two sides. Now, on mine, this one doesn't work. So that's a whole different story, but I've learned, for some reason it gets stuck, but I've learned to work around it because I normally use all 12. If you do invest in one, just start out with the 12. I had the 6 and I had to keep moving things to get the 12. I love to just do the 12 and be done. So I'm just going to line it up where I want it. Okay, and actually I'm going to push these in. These all have to be pulled out, the ones I want to use. And again, I do this every time. Like, oh, how's that supposed to work again? And then I'm just gonna push down. And another thing, oh, see, I didn't have it up in there. Okay, wait a minute. Pushed in. Maybe I do have it the wrong way. This one won't go. Let me look. Oh yeah, okay, so I'm gonna pull these two out, put that back in there. So I lied. The ones I want to punch need to be pushed in. You want to make sure this is flush, because if you don't, I've done this before where I thought it was flush and it wasn't, and then I only caught like the top. So I'm gonna do that. Flush. And there we go. And it caught this a little bit. I don't know why, because it shouldn't have. I must not have had it pulled out, and it caught that. Hey, how did that one work? That one worked. It didn't work before, but I'm not going to worry about it. So I don't know why that caught, but I'm going to do a test run on the next one to make sure. So now I'm going to line this up. Now you have to do this separately. So this is the other one I'm working on. You have to do it separately because it's too thick. It just won't go in there. So I'm going to see if I can get this apart enough to line it up. And then once I get it where I want it, I'm going to carefully pull this sheet out so that it's going exactly where I want it. And hopefully I have those out enough that they're not going to catch. So do I have it up there? All right, well, you're just going to go for it. Okay, so this time I did get what I wanted, and I didn't get the ones on the end. I don't think I had these pulled out far enough. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side, only this side I am not going to turn over this way, because believe it or not, it won't come out. You have to punch in the same direction on each item each time. So I'm going to go ahead and line this back up in here. I found that out with my little golden books. When I would flip the cover, my holes wouldn't line up. It was really frustrating. So then I figured out, well, you can't do it that way. That's why. So I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to get that lined up. And I'm holding this bottom piece really, really tight. If my guide would go over far enough, I wouldn't have to do this. I'm going to pull that out, and I'm just going to make sure that's in there. And I'm going to press down again. And there we go. So now when I put these together, get this out of the way, they're lined up. So I'm cinching nothing until I go through and finish doing everything else. I will do my papers and I'll get everything done before it gets cinched and decide what I want to do. But it is, sometimes I'll take the wire. Let me see if I can find one that's got 8. I don't think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Here's one that's just a smaller one, but I can give you the idea. So I was looking at the other one and where that's gonna land. We'll get to that. But then this would be here, all of my papers. Once that's closed up, then I'm gonna be able to flip papers. So, all right, we've gotten that far. I'm going to get the other set done and move on. I just wanted to, like I said, I wanted to make sure that one was going to be my test subject. Now this one, I can do 12 because this one ended up being bigger. I am going to find my center point. I'm not going to let this distract me like that is the center, because I don't know that it is, but it may be butting right up to that, and I'll have to do a little less work. So anyway, I will be back and we'll move on. Okay, I have all the holes punched, and like I said, I wanted to Mod Podge this, which I did, but it gave me a perfect opportunity to show you like where these little bubbles start to form. And I got my little heat press out. I'm gonna put my parchment paper over top. I have it set on 2, and I'm gonna lightly, I'm not gonna push hard, I'm just gonna lightly start going over it. I'm going to heat that up, and then don't burn yourself. Don't touch it if it's hot. I do this a lot, so, and my hands are not real sensitive to heat. So I'm going to open that up, and then I'm going to go ahead, and now I'm starting to apply a little bit of pressure, and I'm just going to go in circles. And then it's a little warm, so be careful. But you can see it takes the bubbles out. It also, look at how bright it makes your paper. But since this is, my idea is going to be in a kitchen, I just thought, well, I wanted to do that and get it sealed. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Also, in the process, after I put the coat on the back, and I'm going to figure out where my flip goes, how this goes like this, and then it's going to flip over. I'm then going to Mod Podge the, I'm just going to put this right on. In fact, I'm going to wait till I get it all done. I was going to do it now, but so that, like I said, when it flips over, you can turn it, and then this will be on the back. But this will now glue right on here. And it looks like I might have to take, I think I can get it on there. I didn't account for the holes, but I can get it on there. And then I'll be able to press this right on with the heat press because it's already got Mod Podge on it. I'll go over it again, and then I'll smooth the wrinkles out again. Okay, just wanted to come on and tell you that. Okay, everyone, this is coming along nicely. I want to hop back on here and sort of show you a few things. So this is the actual booklet. I've just put my rings through there just to keep it in place while I'm kind of messing around with it. And then this is going to be the cover. And then obviously this will go in here, but when you flip it to the back side, like I had said, then you turn it around, you've got your measurements. I have gone ahead, now remember I Mod Podged this. I went through and fussy cut, this came out from one of the papers, and I Mod Podged this, and the recipe keeper. So this is going to be the front of my little recipe keeper. And the reason I Mod Podged it, if it's sitting out in the kitchen, this is wallpaper, this is going to be fine. But I figured if it was sitting out in the kitchen, it would just help with the dust. When it's folded in, the inside papers aren't going to matter. So I've been playing around with kind of how I want my pages to look. So sort of the same concept. What I'm going to do is when you're looking at the page this way, you're going to see the recipe card, and I'm going to switch them for each one that I do. So Amanda was kind enough to get rid of the graphics that were alongside this original so that I could actually print out more of these without printing all the graphics. I didn't need all of them. So here's the concept on this one. I'm going to decorate this. I'm going to glue these on. Then I went in and I tried some of the bigger pieces, but they're just kind of too big for the top. And obviously I just want to keep going bigger, bigger, bigger. So I went in and I printed 2 to a sheet so that I can use some of these elements across the top or some of the sayings and maybe an element at the end. So that's the plan for that. I just need to get these cut out. I did these as well. Now I have a scan and cut, so I thought I would mention this. I have there are lines all around, and the Scan and Cut, I mean, it picks up these lines. It's crazy. But when I went to do this one on the other sheet, it picked up all these lines as well. So I'm hoping it won't pick these up. If not, I'll try to cut that down as close as I can, because if you've worked with it, you know what I'm talking about. But since I don't really need it to cut all of these out, because these would have to all have lines, I just drew a box around all of it. It'll just cut this whole thing. And same for over here. It will just cut this whole thing, is my hope. I may have to end up fussy cutting them. I don't know. But then with these little lines around all of this, it should cut all of that out. So I wanted to mention that because I thought that might be helpful. Another thing is I ended up making another little instruction sheet. I don't know about you, but I write pretty big. So if I'm writing my instructions down, just this little part would not be enough for me. So I decided I needed to do an instruction sheet that looks like this. And then it's going to go on the back and be glued on. So when you flip it over, again, you can turn it around and your instructions will be on the back side. So I wanted to come on and show you that. I'm going to get some of that done. Another thing I want to mention is I went ahead and talked with Amanda. I used one of her coffee dyed backgrounds that she puts with usually all her journaling J.O.Y kits. Well, actually, she just gave us a whole file that had all those in there. So I did that, but I just put it as a background, but I just didn't put it out here. Just figured I didn't need to waste the ink. Plus, it saves you from having to put the paper in, get this, put the paper in, and get your instruction sheet on there. So thank you, Amanda, for letting me do that. I am going to post this in her file section. And so you can go there and get it if you want it for anything. These are just good for if you just want to print them out and use them for journaling. You can always put a sticker over that says something else. Anyway, I put this little line here. So this little line cuts perfectly in between these two lines to leave your edges if you want to have the black line in the edge, or in the whole thing. I cut all of mine so that the black line is gone, but it has, I was able to ink it, but I'm going to leave it this way for the file. So anyway, I'm going to get some of these done. I'm going to come back, do a little bit of flip through. I'm sure the book will not be completely done. I need to move on to other things, but definitely going to have a lot of it done when I come back. So I'll see ya. Well, you'll see me in a minute. I don't know when I'll be back. Okay. I'm getting close to the finish line. So I wanted to sort of show you the vision. I talked about in the last little segment how I just drew the lines around here. It was perfect because then it didn't pick up these lines on my Scan and Cut. So it didn't pick up these lines, which it did the first time I tried to do it. It just picked up the dark outline of the pencil. And so I did these, and I think what came on this one were these little salt and pepper. That's really what I was going for. I mean, I will use those, but I was going for the little salt and pepper. So I ended up doing 2 to a page for the other little ephemera elements because as you can see, this is what I've wanted to do with it. And then I cut the ladies out, and this worked really well. And I went in, I was following oh gosh, I don't remember her name, but the video of how to use your Scan and Cut. If I can find it, I will link it as well. But she explains it really well using like Amanda's digitals. So if I would have, I minused this too. So when the Scan and Cut picks it up, it'll cut like right on the line, or you can go in and adjust that so it cuts inside. So I did 0.02. I think I could have done probably 0.3. So because I wanted a little bit of a closer cut I will fussy cut them out a little bit more, and may even get rid of that, because this is what I'm going to be doing with them. It's coming out absolutely gorgeous. So on the front of each of my cards, when you get ready, you know, when it's sitting, and I have it kind of sitting here. Oh, this is the cover. It came out absolutely gorgeous. And so when you're flipping it, obviously you're now going to flip up, you know, the next one. All your pages are going to go down here and you're going to flip them up. So when I flip them up, I want these to be on the back side. I think I talked about it. This is several days in the filming, so if I repeat myself, I apologize, but I don't have hours and hours to spend in here, so I may repeat myself. I don't go back and look at the video to see what I said or didn't say. So this will be on the back side. So when you flip that front side, then you're flipping this to the back for your ingredients. So here's my vision. Here's sort of what I'm going for. And I've just laid a few of them out, but I haven't inked and done some of the other stuff. I think I'm going to border that as well with the, I think there was orange and green gingham. I'm going to go back and look for that. So I think I might border around that. But this is sort of what I'm going for. And I just wanted to kind of come on and show you before I have a final flip through, so that you sort of get where my vision's at. So this has been a great challenge for me. I'm loving every second of it. So I will come back. If this video is long, I'm going to kind of check it out. I may do a part 2 for the flip through, but if not, I'll be right back to show you what it looks like.